Prisons are designed to be some of the most secure places in the world, but even behind bars and high walls, there are people willing to risk everything for freedom. In this video, we'll take a look at the top 5 prison escapes caught on camera. Some of them look like scenes straight out of a movie, but they all happened in real life. Joaquin Guzman, 68, also known as El Chapo, is a Mexican drug lord and founder of the Sinaloa cartel, described by the US government as the most powerful drug trafficking organization in the world. In 2014, authorities tracked him down in a Mexican hotel and arrested him. On July 11, 2015, Guzman escaped from a maximum security Mexican prison without even leaving his cell. CCTV cameras show Guzman pacing back and forth in his cell. Then he moves to his shower stall, crouches down, and disappears. It later emerged that a tunnel more than a kilometer long had been dug under the prison, which the drug lord used to escape. These images show how well the tunnel network was constructed, equipped with artificial lighting and ventilation holes, and even contained a motorcycle, which is believed to have been used to transport materials or possibly Guzman himself.
Time to take out the trash. As strange as it may sound, these guys were actually lucky when they were in prison, and the way they lost everything will make you laugh. On that fateful day in 2018, Shane Joe Seib and Willie Ames Driver were sent to clean up trash at the Houston County Jail in Georgia. That's when they saw a perfect opportunity to escape. The two men carried trash outside the prison walls, placing the bags in a large dumpster, from where they would later be picked up by garbage trucks. They were being watched by a prison guard who was supposed to make sure the guys did their job and came back. For some reason, the guard decided to give the two prisoners a little freedom. As soon as the guard was distracted, the prisoners escaped. The CCTV footage shows the men running away. They finally tasted the freedom they had so longed for. At that moment, the guard called for backup. You probably thought that these guys were smart enough not to stand out and just keep running as fast as possible. But for some reason, they decided otherwise. A few days later, the driver was found in an apartment nearby. He was tracked down by his phone number. As for Seib, he was found a few hours later in a barn about 4 kilometers from the prison. Ultimately, they both returned to prison, where they had to serve an additional term as punishment.
Rocky Marquez was imprisoned in 2010 on multiple charges, including document forgery, arms trafficking, and drug trafficking. Rocky was imprisoned in Phoenix, where he befriended an inmate who was due to be released soon. Somehow, Marquez convinced the inmate to switch wristbands with him so that he could walk free in his place, and then he simply walked out of prison. Marquez went on the run and was wanted for 8 months until his car was found in Detroit. He was then imprisoned in Detroit. Incredibly, Rocky Marquez escaped from prison a second time using exactly the same method. In this shot, we see him simply walking out of the building. The authorities did not even notice that Rocky had escaped, discovering the substitution only on the 5th day. But a month later, he was found in Mexico and deported back to the United States. In 2014, Rocky Marquez pleaded guilty to numerous crimes, and on July 28, 2014, he was sentenced to 18 years in prison. On September 2, 2014, Gao Yulun, Li Haiwei, and Wang Daming escaped from prison in Yangshu County, northwestern China. All 3 were in prison for very violent crimes, including murder. 50-year-old Gao Yulong had been sentenced to death. The 3 prisoners got together and began to devise an escape plan. At 6 a.m., a guard named Duan took Gao Yulong to an interrogation room, where he asked to make a phone call. There, Yulong strangled Duan. Then the other 2 men broke into the room, took the keys from Duan's pocket, and used them to steal police uniforms. All 3 then put on the uniforms and left the prison one after another. The police offered a reward of $20,000 for any information leading to the capture of any of the fugitives. All of the criminals were quickly caught and detained within 10 days of the escape. On November 13th, Gao Yulun and Wang Daming were sentenced to death for the murder of a prison guard.
Hai Wei was sentenced to life imprisonment for participating in the escape.
In 2009, 31-year-old Tori Smith was arrested and sent to a New Orleans prison. She had been in prison for only about 2 hours before she saw an opportunity to escape. On the security cameras installed in the Orleans prison, we see a guard leaving the room and slowly closing the door. However, it turns out that he did not lock the door completely. Tori saw what had just happened and asked if she could go to the bathroom. Then she began to run out of the prison. She quickly walked straight through both doors so that no one would notice and began to run out of the prison at full speed, jumping over the fence and disappearing from the view of the cameras. Tori was found and rearrested only 24 hours later in an apartment in New Orleans.
And that wraps up part 2 of the top 5 prison escapes caught on camera. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, the top 10 prison escapes caught on camera, it's popping up on your screen right now. Check it out. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing stories.